Belgrave Gallery was founded by Irving Gross in 1974. It operated first in Belgravia, then St James's, and latterly Belsize Park in London. Irving has since closed the London branch in order to concentrate on the St Ives Gallery. About the difficulty now of accessing, period, vintage, post-war St Ives modernism. Such works have become more expensive, rarer, more difficult to get hold of, and so on. Whilst the Belgrave Gallery does show the work of the high period, the post-war movement, there's more need now, isn't there, to show the work of contemporary artists or younger generation artists?
Yeah, I think that's perfectly true, and it's not just us. I mean, it's a general thing in the whole Monmouthshire area that a lot of galleries have had to move into a more contemporary field because the work is drying up. I mean, in terms of there isn't so much available anymore, and the work that is available, of course, the prices become higher and higher, driven a lot by the auction market activity over the last 10 to 15 years particularly. So yes, we are showing more contemporary artists. When we first opened the gallery here just over 10 years ago, I mean, Terry Frost was our biggest selling artist, but as time's gone on, that work has become more difficult to obtain, and that's no longer the case. Our most recent show was a contemporary show, which was very successful.
What's interesting though about the contemporary exhibitions you do, the current artists working here, is that often their work draws on or coheres with the work of their mentors, the older generation, so that you have several generations, for example, of Frost's, Terry Frost's son, Anthony, and then Luke Frost, the grandson, or you have, the sculptor Chris Buck, whose work obviously is, in the best sense of the word, derived from Barbara Hepworth and Dennis Mitchell. And then you have, other artists that are maybe influenced by Ben Nicholson, perhaps. So there's this creative kind of working out of the art of their heroes or post-war favourites.
Yeah, I think that obviously comes into the situation. I mean, each artist, I think, have to see on their own merits. You can't, I think, to be too general about it. It's not being fair to them. Each individual is influenced by certain artists. And I suppose we're always looking for people that are doing something a bit different, because as an artist you need to be adding something to what's been said before. There's no point in just repeating what's been said. So we're always looking for that sort of spark of creativity, sort of intelligence, and of course the ability to carry it out. I think another thing that's happened, there's been a huge blossoming of the art market in the sort of 20 years I've been involved in the business, in that there's a much art, and much greater number of people making a living by selling. Number of people buying art, and obviously the quality is not necessarily consistent. I mean, there's many more people doing it now, so the few good ones really are very much in demand. But yeah, I think when we open the gallery, they do stand out, and of course they're a lot of people come into St Ives. They like to see sort of modernist type work, basically, and I think they almost expect to see something that's there's a fairly strong identity of what St Ives art is, and it's not just shown here. I mean, a lot of galleries around the country do lots of St Ives exhibitions. I mean, my fear is it's sort of been overplayed a little bit, to be honest. I mean, I think the time may well come when people get a bit tired of it. So that's again why we're always looking out for people doing interesting, slightly different things.
I think that when Marjorie Parr had a gallery here in the late 60s, she tended to show alongside St Ives artists some of her London artists, and I think when that gallery became the Wills Lane under Reg Singh in the 70s, he also brought in people like Liz Frink, to from Dorset, obviously, to complement the work of the local St Ives school. And I think now Belgrave Gallery too, you're starting to show somebody like, say, Frank Beanland, who's an East Anglian based artist, but who has some links with the 60s down here, but is nevertheless an East Anglian, not a West Country artist.
Yes, we've had a couple of shows of Frank's work. Of course, he was down here post-Slade at Porthleven for a year or two, so you've got a bit of a link here. We've also shown people like Conway Maddox, the sort of last surviving British surrealist. Dennis Bowen, who also, he did visit here on occasion, but more of a London artist-based artist really than a St Ives artist. And most recently we've just held our first exhibition of urban art, which was very interesting for people down here to see something a little bit different to Beach. The response was amazing for that particular show.
You mentioned Conway Maddox as the last surviving surrealist, but also, of course, Bob Crossley, who is nearly 96 and is the last surviving, 50s gestural middle generation of abstract painter, still working happily here. And is a link, if you like, between that old school post-war generation and what's happening here now.
Yes, Bob Crossley is an interesting artist. I think he's quite an individual artist. He doesn't really fit in. You can't feel pigeonhole Bob. He's his own man, really. And yes, as you say, he's been working down here since the late 50s. In fact, we had a one-person show of his here last April, and he's seen a lot of people come and go, of course, over that time. So yes, we're very, an interesting artist to show for sure. There are other people still from that earlier period, like Roy Conn is interesting and getting more widely known now. Sculpture we're standing in front of Paul Mount seems to be getting more renowned for his work. Finally, so these things do sort of link together.